the pirates. I will not bore the reader of this document by evading things or overly long explanations. I am a Lidris. I am also a prime mind, in that one head has immense dominance over the others. Like other prime minds, this has made me into a complete sociopath due to the overwhelming amount of information causing actual damage to my mind. Miles reads out loud, and there's a low whistle from Jake as Franklin is already looking into Lidris prime minds with his communicator. The Unrelenting Legion has hired me for a highly illegal super soldier program. My team was a large number of self-delusional fools that have the technical training to accomplish this task, a small swarm of grunts in a vague direction. I was given a sample of numerous extinct super predators to both extract DNA from and synthesize into the Lidris genetic code. That explains everything so far. But not what happened, Beck notes as he rubs his chin. Well, let me keep reading, Miles says before clearing his throat and continuing. The failure to produce results beyond extremely dangerous fauna and a great many dead clones and aborted Lidris fetuses has resulted in a massive cut to funding. This did not produce any better results, which resulted in more and more funding being cut, until it reached a point where the laboratory was about to be shut down. Just shut down? Then why the hell wait? Jake begins, and Miles gives him a look. He holds up his hands in surrender at that. At this point, I had grown obsessed with the project. Then, the project was canceled entirely. The machines were taken as I slept, and I turned on the remaining personnel. I then began to use them in order to finish this experiment. I ran out of materials, but learned enough to experiment on myself. Miles reads before his eyebrows go up in interest as he skims ahead. Okay, the twist is about to come. Anyone want to take bets? It's Thunder Thought, isn't it? Franklin asks, and Miles gives him a bit of a glare. You used Axiom to read this, didn't you? Miles asks. No, I just thought about what fits together the most. Franklin remarks, right. Well, to summarize what's next, she notes that after cutting up Moira and regenerating the amalgamation so many times, she learned a lot more about Lidris biology and saw an upgrade for herself, took it, and then suddenly she stumbled on a cure for prime mind syndrome, which meant that she was suddenly able to see people as people and not things. Meaning for the first time in her life, she felt guilt, Beck says with narrowed eyes. The idea of someone chopping up other people reminded him of Kareem's trauma a little too closely. Basically, she couldn't handle it, but also wasn't brave enough to undo her mistakes and has committed herself to diving into the ocean and forcing herself into a regenerative coma. So Dr. Jem Finil became Jem Finil, aka Thunder Thought? Franklin asks. Basically, although her proper name was Dr. Finil Jemaya, Miles says. So yes, a mad scientist cured her own madness by sheer accident and couldn't handle what she did, but wasn't brave enough to try and fix it. Is there anything in there about how she cured prime mind syndrome? There is a cure, but it came out about 5 centuries ago. Franklin asks, and Miles shakes his head. So that's it then? Everything wrapped up? We not only have the source of Thunder Thought, but one of her earliest victims rescued? Depends what's in those other rooms. Still, this is disappointing, Jake remarks. And what were you expecting? Beck asks with a chuckle. For us to find a massive device about to go off the last 3 seconds on the inexplicable digital readout, even as we boot down the door? Oh, how about some experimental death bots in an expanded room, so the moment the door is open, 10,000 robo eyes light up bright red and the plasma cannons start warming up, Franklin offers. Well, I was hoping for more in the form of giant aggressive animals. After all, some of them might be edible. Actually, all of them. I wonder how those serpents pair with rice and soy sauce. Lou considers. Way to lean into the stereotype, Lou, Miles says with a bit of a relief. Right, so we're doing this to get full closure for Moira now. We're still down a body after all. We've seen the serpent, lizard, and fish. We also found one unused one, but there's a potential frog. Hey, wait, if she managed to cure herself of being a sociopath, even by accident, then why was she one when we ran into her thousands of years later? She clearly found her name and old home again, so why not her soul? The treatment for prime mind doesn't stick through a regenerative coma. This isn't usually a problem as they remember taking it and go and get it again, but Finil didn't, Franklin says before sighing. So she's Finil now? Not Thunder Thought? No, she's going right back to Thunder Thought. Her backstory might be sympathetic, but the piles upon piles of dead bodies in the facility above and the one here are evidence that she had too many chances as is, Franklin says before nodding. Just because you understand a monster doesn't mean they're no longer monstrous. A rabid dog is pitiable, but still must be put down. You would have shot Old Yeller without thinking twice. The dog died the moment it got infected. Everything else was just semantics, Franklin says. Just like Dr. Fennell was worthy of an execution even when she had cured her damn prime mind. She was still a monster, just one that was feeling a little bad over the horrible, evil things it had done, but not enough to try and fix the mess she made. And how could she have fixed this? Full regeneration on Moira, regrow the lost bodies, destroy the nightmare she made and work towards ensuring the people she hurt can at least escape in peace. Or at the very least, kill her experiments to put them out of their misery. No, she only had the decency to admit fault and then not kill herself with a regenerating coma, Franklin says before spitting. Disgusting. Well, geez, man, tell us how you really feel, Miles says as he pockets the data slate. Still, it's awfully convenient that it all falls on one person with a pre-existing condition. Frame job? Jake asks. Maybe, Miles says before shrugging. Hell, probably. If things are too good to be true, they usually are. Thunder Thought was still a monster that needed to be put down, Franklin insists. No one's arguing otherwise, but a written confession after all other information has been destroyed or blockaded is too convenient. It smells dirty, Miles counters. And stop defending your actions so hard. Everyone agreed the bitch needed to die, and this hasn't changed that. Sorry, I just can't get that night out of my head. They died and needed to, but if I'd been faster, been better, maybe their last victims would have been the girls from the week before and not that afternoon, Franklin remarks before shaking his head. All right, enough melancholy. Let's finish this job and get the girls who have some idea of what the hell is happening in here. Miles states and he leads his way out of the room. Lou, Jake, you two are front guard for a reason. Get your swords and plasma up ahead. They form up again and open the door to the lab that the strange device room was breached into. There are numerous half-completed experiments on the shelf that are long destroyed by time, and Franklin finds nothing when he pings the room with Axiom. They then move to the next. This one is dark and has rows of stasis pods. Most are holding dead and desiccated corpses, but one of them was recently shut down by the scan, and the trail in the dust suggests feet and a dragging tail. But much, much too small for it to be Moira. Not unless... Friendly faces on, Franklin says. Wave to the far left corner. It's under the table. Everyone does, even as Franklin crouches down to get a good look at something that tries to scramble out of sight. Is that? Miles begins. I think she's a Lidris, but I don't think they're supposed to get this small, Franklin says, and there's a sudden thump on the lower table. He conjures a ball of light and sends it drifting gently towards the movement. A tiny girl eats it. What the? Jake asks as he crouches down and activates a built-in flashlight on the cannon. It reveals a teeny tiny Lidris girl with 4 webbed legs and a shorter than average tail. Her scales have been replaced by brightly colored skin, and it matches up the 8 tiny serpent-like bodies. The face is chubbier, open, and clearly lacking in intelligence. But it's Moira. They found the final body. They found the successful experiment. Hello there, can you understand me? Miles asks as he crouches down. There are 7 blank stares from one innocent-looking girl. Crap. Do you really want foul language to be her first word, you dumbass? Beck asks, and Miles slowly turns to give him a questioning look. I think it'd be hilarious myself. Thank you, Beck, Miles says before patting himself down. Remind me, what's the Lidris designation? Multiple reptile carnivore, Franklin says. Ah, I have an answer then, Lou says, sheathing his swords. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small bag. He pulls out a strip of jerky and crouches down to her level. He holds it out to her and starts taking small steps toward her. She looks curiously at the strip of meat, and then one of her bodies snatches at it. Then another tries to take it from that body, leading to 2 of them, starting to fight with each other. Settle down. I have plenty ketters. Lou says, pulling out another piece to hold out. It's quickly swiped by the first one to get the meat, because her sisters had thoroughly torn the treat out of her hands. Then the entire Lidris moves as one, and she hops like a frog and snatches the bag out of Lou's hand to start going through it, each of the girls grabbing as much meat as they can to eat. Is this normal? Miles asks, and Franklin lets out a little hum even as he's looking things up as fast as he can. Yes, very young Lidris get very excited and can't really self-synchronize yet. It's a skill. What stage is she at? Physically, she seems to be less than a year. She's as big as an 8-year-old. Some races develop at a lightning pace compared to humans. Lidris are one of them. They're mobile before the first week is up, Franklin says. Right, hey girls, we found an experiment here. Lidris infant, alive, hungry, but very clearly, one of Moira's missing heads regenerated into her own person. Send a doctor with snacks, lots of snacks and some clothes for the little girl, Jake says into his communicator. What kind of Lidris is she? Some new type. Looks to be crossed with a frog of some kind. Maybe toxic? Jake answers. No. Okay, yes, that's good to know. But how many bodies? The doctor asks. 8, like Moira's supposed to have. Jake replies. Is she getting anything to eat? I know you boys snuck something. Lou brought some dried meat and... Wait, Lou, does that stuff have spices? No, it's just meat. Lou assures him, even as his now very empty jerky bag is shaken in his face. That's all I had. It's shaken in his face again and he shakes his head. He's then hit with the bag by a furious and ravenous toddler. I think she likes you, Beck calls out even as Lou pockets the empty bag, and the 8 bodies of the tiny Lidris are effectively trying to steal everything he has. Thankfully, they can't really figure out the straps on his weapons and aren't strong enough to just rip things out of their places. Could one of you? Shit, now, Lou says as a sudden panic hits him, and there's a near howl in Axiom as Franklin teleports him out of the girl's grip with less subtlety than a grenade. Lou's developing a massive rash along his arms, and there's something smeared over his vest and near his thighs where she was trying to find more food. She's leaking contact poison. Fuck, doctor, make sure you're ready for this. The little lady's leaking poison. It's bad enough for us, who knows what it'll do to you. Jake barks into his communicator, and as the toxic Lidris jumps at them to try and get herself fed, she suddenly loses all momentum and sense of gravity. Courtesy of Franklin. We're getting to the ship's medical bay, both for us and for her. Miles commands even as the little struggling girl thrashes around and accidentally sprays the area with more contact poison in her struggles.